because you got to get out there as soon as possible and gather those facts. The insurance company's not going to gather them for you. You're going to have someone out there on your behalf.
This episode, we're featuring Don May as our guest. Don May is a friend of mine and a colleague. Him and I have been working together in our law firm, Kelley Faultless, for around 19 years. And even before that, I knew Don as a state trooper.
This is After the Crash. I'm attorney Dave Craig, managing partner and one of the founders of the law firm of Craig, Kelley & Faultless. I've represented people who have been seriously injured or who have had a family member killed in a semi or other big truck wreck for over 30 years. Following the wreck, their lives are chaos. Often they don't even know enough about the process to ask the right questions. It is my goal to empower you by providing you with the information you need to protect yourself and your family. In each and every episode, I will interview top experts and professionals that are involved in truck wreck cases. This is After the Crash.
So Don, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Craig. It's a pleasure being here today.
So let's talk a little bit about your background, Don. I know you were in the military. Let's start off talking about tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was very lucky in life. I've been, more or less, God has kind of led me in the right direction. And when I was in the military, of course, we got married, had a child, and life kept getting better. And as a military policeman in the service, we were assigned over into the West Germany area, and we were very fortunate. We lived on the 5th floor overlooking the Rhine River. So it was like being on vacation. And like I said, it was a good duty for me. Enjoyed it.
And and tell us a little bit about your family. You're married and you got kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, right?
Well, that's, I believe, the best part of it. When you get lucky and get you a very special lady that takes good care of you and then give you 3 fine children, then we received 3 great or grandchildren. And then we were lucky enough to have 3 more great-grandchildren. So, it's just, you smile from ear to ear when you're around those type of kids. I mean, they make you feel younger and you're tickled to death with it.
So I know you started off in the military police.
Yes.
What was it that attracted you to law enforcement?
Well, it was very simple. You felt like that was the best position that I could have put myself in because you enjoy helping people. And that's the most important part of any police job of any kind, is being there helping the people in any way possible. If they've got a problem, you've got a problem, and you're going to find solutions for those problems. And you treat people like you'd like to be treated. And, it's a lot of good positive things come out of something like that.
And after you left the military, you didn't start off in Indiana, did you? In the police, where did you go?
Well, we had a misfortune opportunity with my wife. Her mother was sick and they lived in Texas, and they only give her so many years to live. So we loaded everything we had in a U-Haul trailer and we went to Texas. And I was fortunate enough to work at the Waco City Police Department for that period of time. And then when she passed away, which is a bad situation for us, but we also at that point applied for the Indiana State Police and was very lucky and fortunate to get accepted to their academy. It was a very good day when that happened also.
And how long were you with Indiana State Police?
Well, I was very blessed to have 25 wonderful years with them. And it was an opportunity that it was a challenge, but a challenge that you enjoy.
And I know, I believe you worked out of the Connorsville Post. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Worked out of the Connorsville Post, which I was very fortunate. Again, they sent me to Newcastle, which is the Henry County area. And I spent the full 25 years with people of Henry County. And you get to know people after a period of time like that, and you get to know their families. I mean, you get to know their parents, the children, and you just become part of their family, which was another honor for me.
And I know, being an Indiana State Trooper, I mean, I have utmost respect for the Indiana State Police, but it can be challenging as well. So, I mean, what parts about the job did you enjoy the most?
Well, once again, you get to help people, and you get into people's lives where you make a difference. and you went home at night knowing that you accomplished, a lot of things for that day. And every day you went to work, you wanted things to come out positive for everybody that you come in contact with.
And after you retired from the Indiana State Police, we were fortunate enough here at Craig, Kelley Faultless that you joined us as a courier and investigator. And you've been with us nearly 19 years, and now you're retiring. And so I wanted to be sure to have an opportunity to talk to you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Before you actually vacated the building. I've been honored to work with you.
I appreciate that.
And you've done such an excellent job. But this podcast is designed for ordinary folks who don't really know what they're getting into. When one of these semi wrecks or a commercial motor vehicle wreck or big truck wreck, bus wreck, when one of these happens, the family's lives are turned upside down. And oftentimes they're dealing with the devastation and the heartbreak and the heartache of the aftermath of those crashes. And so all too often they delay or wait to get involved in the investigation or to hire a lawyer, where the trucking company, the commercial motor carrier, and their insurance companies, they're hiring people right away. I mean, they're immediately starting to investigate it. And you've had an opportunity to investigate with us. And I guess the first thing I would like to talk about is just, should folks out there who have a loved one or their own family have been involved in one of these catastrophic wrecks with a semi, should they rely just on the police to do the investigation?
Well, that's one thing that I found out coming to work here at Craig, Kelley and Faultless, that the best move that anybody could make that's involved in an accident is to contact this law firm of Craig, Kelley and Faultless, because they're going to take care of everything possible for you during a bad time for you and your family, that you'll get the experts and you'll get the representation that you need, that you won't get if you try to rely on your insurance companies. It doesn't work that way with insurance.
Well, and I think people don't understand. Well, oftentimes they think, well, if the police did the investigation, we don't need to rush out there. We don't need to be in a hurry. But as you know, I mean, police departments vary from state to county to city. And so, talk a little bit about that.
Well, what we'd like to do, and it's great for our clients, that as soon as we're notified, we can get out to that location of the accident and we can take a look at the scene of the accident. We can see all those fresh marks and all the skid marks, yaw marks, or anything of that nature. You can get around that location right in that area and check for video. That's very important to our case because not everyone will keep that video for a long period of time. So the sooner we get out there, the better. There's been a couple of cases where if we'd been a couple of days before, we'd had the video. And that's disappointing because those videos give us a lot of facts that are benefit for our client. And that's very important that we get out there and get that information that we can get that you don't get on a police report.
And would you agree with me, Don, that there's, some police departments have more resources? They might have reconstructionists or they might have the equipment, and other police departments just don't have the money. In a smaller city or a smaller county, they may not have a reconstructionist or they may not have the resources to properly investigate the wreck.
Well, and what I always thought when I was a trooper, these accidents are investigations. They're not just fill in the blanks. And, some bigger departments, they've got resources where you can get down to the facts. Where other smaller departments, they don't have those type of resources or training. So if you go out and you can tell by looking at the accident report, once you get to the scene, did this officer just fill in the blanks? Or was this an accident investigation from the scene, which is a benefit to everybody involved? We do investigations, we're not filling in blanks.
Yeah, and I've represented people all over the country, and it's really shocking the difference in the quality of the investigation from police department to police department. Some are extraordinarily good,
yes.
And others are very, very bad.
Yes.
And so if a family is these cases are humongous in the sense that the impact is humongous on these people. and they need to make sure that the investigation is done right. And they're not going to have the knowledge of which police departments are good and which ones are bad. So the safest thing to do is to hire a law firm that has the experience and the knowledge and the expertise to go out and do the investigation. And if the police department's good, that's great. You haven't wasted, I mean, you're just checking them. And if they're bad, at least you're preserving evidence that otherwise may be lost if you don't hire your own law firm to do their investigation.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because you got to get out there as soon as possible and gather those facts. The insurance company's not going to gather them for you. You're going to have someone out there on your behalf, and you're going to come out much better if you have Craig, Kelley, and Faultless with you representing you.
Well, and you might be a little biased there, Don, but
well, yeah, very, very true. But you know, I've seen all these cases since I've been here for 19 years, David, and I see that the people that I've dealt with over that period of time have nothing but praise for Craig, Kelley, and Faultless, and it makes you feel good when you put out as much effort as this law firm does to represent them.
Well, thank you. Now, Don, I know that one of the key things we send you out to do as soon as we get hired, Clint Crabtree, he's kind of over our investigation section. And Clint, first thing he does is send you to the scene to look for video cameras and security cameras. Talk a little bit about that, because it's amazing. When I first started 35 years ago, that wasn't something we worried about.
No, and that is fantastic information for you, because those video machines don't lie. They show you exactly what happened, who had the red light, maybe who had the green light, who was left to center, and who wasn't. And those are very, very important piece of the puzzle for everybody's benefit. And the sooner we get out there to see if we can find those, and if we can get fortunate enough to get our hands on one, you know, that helps a lot of things in a long way for us.
So tell me about that. So what do you do? Like, so there's a wreck. Let's say there's a wreck, you know, in the city, and you know, we say, okay, here's the address of the wreck. So what do you do? How do you go about trying to figure out whether or not there's security cameras or not?
Well, usually you check the outside of the building, if all possible, see if there's any cameras out there that you can see. And then to be sure, if you see some or if you don't see it, you always go inside and speak with someone that knows a little bit about the video cameras, and tell them and explain to them what you're there for, who you work for, and the reason why you're looking for video. And if they usually have any video, they'll definitely let you look at them. They'll even let you copy them. They'll even email them to us. I mean, people are very generous on those type of information that can help someone with the accident, because if it's in that area there where they have cameras, they're probably familiar with the accident. And a lot of times, those folks that you're talking to will tell you they remember that accident and they were standing outside when that occurred or something of that nature. And that's just another piece of the puzzle that you're looking for. If you get other additional witnesses that's got good view, you get that video camera, things of that nature is all helpful to our client and get to those facts of what happened that day.
And I know, I mean, there's been times when you've actually gone and they've actually let you watch the video, right?
Yes, they have. And they've been very generous with that, you know. And I carry a little disc in my briefcase that if I'm able to get a copy of that at that time, then they're very generous in letting us have that. And one the other day, the lady that was in charge of the video wasn't there, but some of the other employees were very helpful. And we left our information on the date of the accident and the time of the accident. And when she got back the next day, we got a copy of that. She was generous enough to email that to us. And now we've got a video of what happened. And with, like I said, with those videos, they'll give you exactly what happened. And that's what you're after.
And there's times where you go out there and when you're looking around, that you don't even see the cameras. I mean, some cameras are like visible, but then there's been times when you've gone out and didn't even realize there was a camera.
Well, where you expect a camera sometimes, like the other day there, I was walking around and things of that nature, and that's where I expected maybe some video cameras, and they didn't have any. And checking with the folks there at that location, they didn't have a camera at all. But you go across the street where you don't see any cameras, And they've got cameras on both ends of the building that you didn't see, but you still got to go in and check with these people because a lot of times those cameras are not visible. I know one here a while back from over there at Richmond from a lumberyard area. They were quite a distance from the road, but their cameras zoomed right down into that intersection, which was, a surprisement to me, but we tickled death to get it. Yes, sir, Reed.
Well, we've been able to, we've been able to use those videos before. We had a wrongful death case where a box truck killed my client and crossed the center lane and killed my client. And unfortunately, the owner of the truck, the trucking company, had deactivated the electronic control module. So there was no data for us to unload or download from the truck. So we couldn't determine the speed or braking or anything. And so it was convenient that, of course, they either intentionally or unintentionally disconnected that. However, we were able to get a business and have video and see this box truck coming. And the reconstruction was actually able to determine the speed of that truck by looking at how long it took the truck to pass different landmarks, like a pole here and a light pole here. And because of how much time it took, we were able to determine the speed and show that this truck was going at an excessive speed. Right. And so these videos can be critical. I mean, they can make or break a case. And I think you've seen not every business keeps them forever, right? I mean, you have to get them.
That's exactly right. Some people will keep them for 5 days. Other folks will keep them a little longer. But, also when we're in a residential area, a lot of homes now have doorbell videos, which is just as good as any business. And a lot of times we get fortunate enough to get the copy of their video. So you don't know unless you knock. And that's very important that you knock because you take that extra step. You want to know for sure.
So again, 35 years ago when I started, you didn't have these videos. Now, approximately what percentage do you think? Are we gotten to 50-50 yet, where there's something captured on some type of video?
I would say in businesses now, I would say you're probably maybe a little higher than 50%. It's interesting sometimes if we check, say, at a Dollar Tree or a Dollar General. At one time, they didn't have any video equipment, but they've been robbed the last 4 or 5 times in the last 2 months. And now they're getting video cameras. So a lot of businesses now are leaning towards the video cameras for the outside and also extremely for the inside,
And another thing you touched on is that oftentimes when you're actually out at the scene, because you go to the scene and look for these cameras, people, if it's a really bad wreck and there's businesses or houses near the area, oftentimes the people will have some knowledge about the wreck.
They will. They'll be familiar with the accident, especially, if they were home. Now, every once in a while, I was a little disappointed when they said, well, I remember the accident, but I wasn't home at that time. But a lot of folks say, yeah, I was home and I was out there trimming my flowers when that happened. I seen the whole thing. And those are very helpful witnesses right there that's not on that police report. A lot of times you get more out at the scene that the police didn't follow up on, that if you're out there 2 or 3 days later, then you accomplish a lot out at the scene for our clients.
When I remember, not that long ago, you and I were out in, I think it was Terre Haute, and there was a wreck out on the highway, and there was a gentleman who lived back in one of the corners. And before I even arrived or before my reconstructionist arrived or whatever, you had talked with him and he had information about the wreck.
Yes, and that's always very helpful. I mean, you don't know unless you ask. But a lot of folks, I think he came to us, if I remember, and kind of wanted to know, a little bit what was going on. And I think we explained to him, and he was very, very helpful for what happened that day on that intersection up there. Yes.
Well, one of the other things that, we do, my focus is on commercial motor vehicle wrecks and heavy big truck wrecks. At least a lot of my practice now is devoted to that. And so for the last 19 years, you and I have traveled all over the state and all over the country just to do these inspections of trucks. and we've been out in the cold, we've been out in the rain,
Right? No, yeah,
heat,
yeah.
with sometimes spoiled produce. But you kind of have to go wherever you have to go, and I like to personally be involved, and I've always had you with me. Talk a little bit about what we do when we get out there to one of these inspections.
Well, usually when we're going to something of that nature, we'll have our experts with us also. And we've got the best in the business that's doing the truck from the front bumper all the way to the back bumper of the trailer, which is going to be a big benefit for the client, and also to try to get to the facts to see what happened. And if everybody's being honest that has anything to do with this truck, we'll get that information from right there from that truck itself. Also, we're out there looking in the cab and different things of that nature, taking pictures to see if there's anything there where maybe the driver maybe had a video on the dash that we're not aware of, and you're just looking around the gentleman's tractor trailer there and looking to see if there's anything there that, that will help to get to the facts. And, it's what, 6, 7, 8 hour day most of the time on these inspections. And like you say, it's miserable weather, but we started and we've always finished there. And that's good. I mean, that's what it's all about for us.
And a lot of times, we'll have, an accident reconstructionist.
Yes.
We'll have a mechanic.
Yes.
We'll have somebody who can download
Yes.
the ECM, electronic control modules, or
Yes.
the airbag module of the car, if there's a car involved. And then we have a professional videographer
Yes.
out there. And then we have you there kind of overseeing everything and photographing, which I don't think not all law firms do it, but I like to photograph our experts doing their job, as well as oftentimes the defense experts are there. And so by photographing them, when we get ready to try the case, we can have exhibits made showing our experts, doing their job and also working hand in hand with the other experts. So it shows that they were there to make sure that everything was on the up and up.
Right. Yes, sir. And things have always been on the up and up, as far as I'm aware of. And, those facts is what we're gathering, and those facts don't lie. So that's what we're after. And like you said, we've got some of the best people, and we don't miss a thing when we're there for that inspection, that we'll have everything that we need to represent our client.
And a lot of times we're overseeing all that, and you obviously you get in, we'll take pictures. You'll get up in the cab of the truck, and take pictures from looking out the view that the truck driver would have had, because when you're sitting up high in
Yes.
one of these big semi tractors, you have a different view than when you're down in a car. And so we always want to capture that. So you always get up there and you'll take pictures of the view out the windshield.
Yes, you get a view of what that driver was seeing at the time of the accident. And, you can just kind of take a picture of everything in that tractor from the cab all the way out to the front and look over that hood of that truck to see kind of what was going on at the truck, at the driver at the time of the accident. And, it helps, I think, tremendously to get a feeling about what happened,
So out of the 19 years that you and I have been working together,
Yeah.
What do you think what have you enjoyed about your time here at Craig, Kelley & Faultless?
Well, with you, David Craig, has been a very, very enjoyable situation. You and Mr. Faultless and Mr. Kelley and all the employees that we have that work together as a team from the top to the bottom. There's some great people here, and they're all got one thing on their mind, and that's for the benefit of our clients. And I always saw you become part of the family here at Craig, Kelley & Faultless. And I've enjoyed the last 19 years. And here shortly, I'm sure it'll put tears in my eyes. It's been very enjoyable. But meeting some of our clients, and you develop a relationship with them over a period of time, you become part of their family. And you hear compliment after compliment about Craig, Kelley & Faultless from the very first time they called in and talked to the receptionist, just the way they were treated on their very first phone call to the very last contact that I usually have with them when we deliver the check to the client personally. Because like you told me one time, Mr. Craig, there's two things you said to me: no case too big, no case too small. We met you the first time, we'll meet you the last time. And everybody that works here has got their heart in their position for the benefit of our client in this law firm. There's no doubt in my mind, Craig, Kelley Faultless does the best job of anybody that's in the business. With your leadership, everybody will do what it takes.
Well, I appreciate that, and I got you on video, so I'm going to hold you to this. And I've been able to try to talk you into just helping me on occasion on truck inspections still, right?
Yeah, I'll do that because there's no doubt I owe you and everybody here at the law firm.
My
whole family owes you a lot.
No, you don't owe me anything, but I can't imagine doing a truck inspection without you.
Oh, that's exactly right.
I can't. I've been out there too many bad weathers too, and sometimes we get lucky and it's a nice weather.
It is nice weather, but a lot of times it's hot. And we think, and Craig, Kelley Faultless always brings the water.
Yeah.
We bring the bottled water for everybody there, and they enjoy that also,
We try to treat people the way we'd want to be treated.
Exactly right. This is a first-class operation from the top all the way to the bottom. I've never ate so much and be treated like royalty, you might say. Yes. And my family all have been treated like we're part of your family, David. That means a lot to me.
What are you looking forward to the most about retirement?
Spending time with my wonderful wife. She'll enjoy it, I'm sure. But yeah, it's time with my great grandkids and my own granddaughters and my own kids and things of that nature. Because the great grandkids are a little younger, and they're so enjoyable to be around. As you know, being a grandfather yourself with grandchildren, you think the best thing that ever happened to you was your own children. Then you have grandchildren, and it just keeps getting better as you go through life. And I'm 71 years old, and I've had a very, very, very good life, and a lot of that's contributed to Craig, Kelley Faultless.
I think you and I both are blessed.
Yeah, that's very true.
We're very blessed, and not only blessed in a lot of ways, but also blessed in having good wives.
Well, we've been very, very lucky. Mrs. Craig has always treated me like, a member of the family. And I know how she treats you. She takes very good care of you, but you take good care of her also. And that's always been an example for Jordy and I. Yeah.
Well, Don, thank you so much for all the years that you've helped us at Craig, Kelley Faultless, and wish you nothing but the best in retirement. And thank you for being a guest on After the Crash. Thank you very much, Mr. Craig, and thank you and your whole family, and thank everyone here at the law firm of Craig, Kelley Faultless. They've made this very enjoyable 19 years. A lot of good memories will leave when I leave this building. Thank you. Thank you, David.
This is David Craig, and you've been listening to After the Crash. If you'd like more information about me or my law firm, please go to our website, ckflaw.com. Or if you'd like to talk to me, you can call 1-800-ASK-DAVID. If you would like a guide on what to do after a truck wreck, then pick up my book, Semi-Truck Wreck, a guide for victims and their families, which is available on Amazon, or you can download it for free on our website, ckflaw.com.